I got the information that most of these pioneers that are like pioneering this movement of new leaders are currently in their 20s and 30s. So it's like a whole generation of people who have this soul contract and who have, in some type of way, an agreement with each other and with their cosmic selves. Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to Rooted in the Cosmos, your podcast for all things spirituality, New Earth vision, and higher consciousness. My name is Isabel Gloria. I'm your host, and I'm welcoming you to this brand new episode. If you are here for the first time, welcome to the podcast, fam. And if you are listening to this podcast every week, I love you. It's so nice to see the podcast family grow, and I have so much fun recording these episodes for you every week. And yeah, I just love it. I wanted to say thank you for everyone who's listening. And this week has been crazy for me. I don't know if you could feel it, but we went through a major astrological transition, and I could for sure feel that. And I also heard it from a lot of my clients and a lot of people around me that they definitely felt it, and that also some, I wouldn't say challenges, but some bumps in the road kept coming up for the last couple of days. So that definitely was the energetic shift that we could probably all feel to some degree. And I feel like 2024 has started with a lot of energy that is being stirred up. That's the impression that I'm getting, not just in my personal life. Like, I feel like everyone is going through a phase of sorting out like stuff that hasn't been sorted out for a long time, like closing loops and stuff like that. It's almost like the universe is pushing us to close our loops and to finally concern ourselves with the stuff that we have been putting off because our attention is needed and something else is coming. So even though even I personally have some like 3D stuff going on right now that I just need to sort out, and instead of feeling annoyed by it, I really feel like this is being put in my way so I can work through that, because it's things that I've put off for a while, that I've been procrastinating, and now they're coming up and they need to be done. And I feel like it's to remove all the blockages or all the bumps in the road that we may have to really thrive in 2024. So if you are experiencing something like this right now, if you feel like things are coming up that are really annoying and that you have to concern yourself with now, and that you really resist, try moving into these challenges with less resistance, because I really feel that this energy is giving us the opportunity to get rid of all the confusing, chaotic energy that's always in the back of our minds, so that we can focus on creating and on being really in alignment with our higher path. Maybe this is giving you a little bit of a mindset shift to take on the challenges that are being thrown at you right now with less resistance and more trust, because I genuinely feel that this is about clearing out energy so you can thrive. For this episode, I want to stick with the 2024 energy. I know I've talked about this a lot in past episodes, but still, there's so much coming through, and I feel like there's so much we still have to talk about and I still have to share, that I just want to continue talking about this, because there's still a lot of energy coming through, and a lot of it is being channeled through me. And I just want to share that with you because I feel like the energy and the information is very, very empowering and also profound. And yeah, I'm just going to share with you a little bit more in detail what the information is that I've gotten for the last couple of weeks, or over the last couple of weeks. And I may have mentioned some of the things in past episodes, but I will go very deep today, and much deeper than just mentioning it. So the main thing that came up for me and that I've gotten as a really, really clear message is that there is a wave of new conscious leaders stepping forward within the collective, and they will show up in different ways. So it can be someone who is just on a personal spiritual journey and is taking leadership in that sense, like taking leadership over their own path and over their own consciousness and how they live their life and how conscious they want to live. But the energy that is really standing out is that these new conscious leaders will show up online. So they will show up as coaches, as content creators, as spiritual teachers on YouTube or something like that, as spiritual influencers, if you want to call them that. So people who are sharing online about their spiritual journey and also who are creating a very aligned business with pure intentions from that. What's going to happen is that a lot of the new people that are coming up as content creators are conscious spiritual people. And we will see a type of influencer or content creator that we haven't seen that much before. So people who are not just talking about makeup and fashion and all these things, but people who are actually talking about spiritual wisdom, who are sharing their perspective, who are what you would call a light worker. And they are showing up in a similar way how we perceive influencers now. So they are just sharing their life online, but it has a lot of value. It has a lot of depth and things that we can learn from them. And this is very connected to the coaching industry because I feel like one does not work without the other. So every coach is also a full-time content creator because you have to be online, you have to be present on social media to be a coach and to sell your offers and all these things. So I just see a type of person or like an archetype that we haven't seen that much before. It's a little bit like back in the days when blogs were really in. That was the time when I was really involved in fashion blogs, and I was one of the first fashion blogs in Germany and stuff like that. And this was when social media was just starting. So we didn't have Instagram, we didn't have TikTok or anything like that. We just had our blogs, and that was social media back then. And then it started to move into social media and we started getting these apps and these platforms, and the rest is history. Right now this is a legitimate business, and you can, like, so many people live off of an online business or as an influencer. They make money as an influencer, and it feels energetically, it feels a little bit like back then. So there is something new coming, and it's already kind of here because a lot of conscious people and a lot of coaches are on social media, but it's going to take a whole new level. I feel like it's going to be much more present, and it's also going to be people who are just sharing a lot about their lives, and it's more in the public eye, more in the collective peripheral, if that makes sense. So right now it's really niche down, and there are people who are sharing their content online who have a community of spiritual people and who are, you could say, influencers. But what I perceive to happen is that this is going to be a lot bigger and there is more opportunities. And also, it's going to be taken more seriously. Just like influencers who are making fashion and beauty content are getting laughed at a lot, spiritual people are getting laughed at a lot. And I feel like this is going to shift. Obviously, not for everyone, not the whole collective is suddenly going to be like, yeah, I'm going to listen to this spiritual influencer girly, what she has to say. But a lot of people are starting to question if this is actually like not so silly or not as silly as they thought it would be. So I just feel like there's a huge potential for a major shift there. And a lot of these people who are going to pop up out of nowhere, they are not really known right now. So there will be some people who are just growing their community, who already have like a community like I do. And I feel myself in this too. Like 2024 is a year where I want to share more content on TikTok, for example, and where I want to reach the people who are new to this and who are really, really hungry for wisdom. And I've set my focus on that. But I've been doing this for a couple of years now. And I feel like there will be people who have never been in any like context as a content creator before. So there will be so many new people who are deciding now to step forward, and they will find success, and they will suddenly find themselves having a community and having a thriving business or a thriving social media presence. That is what I genuinely feel. So in case you're listening to this and you are feeling called to just start sharing on social media, that is definitely a sign. I do feel like there will be new people, a lot of new people popping up out of nowhere, and they will be successful and they will be able to grow a community. I want to go a little bit deeper into the spiritual reason behind this download and this channeled information that I got, because there's actually a lot to it. And I may talk about this in several episodes because it's so, like, it was the largest download that I've received in a while, and it feels so profound and so big. I feel like I have to talk about this a lot and bring it out into the world and empower as many people as possible. So, spiritual background wise, I got the information that most of these pioneers that are like pioneering this movement of new leaders are currently in their 20s and 30s. So it's like a whole generation of people who have this soul contract and who have, in some type of way, an agreement with each other and with their cosmic selves to bring this new energy to the planet and to also bring new opportunity and inspire other people. I will go into this deeper, but just for now, like, it's a whole generation. And so many of us in our 20s and 30s, so many of us have like this shared soul contract. It's like when I tune into this visually, because I'm a clairvoyant, I see things visually. I see a lot of, like, I see planet Earth as the planet, and I see a lot of little dots of light, which are the individual light workers, and they all have a stream of consciousness that comes together on a higher dimension. So it almost feels like they are sharing a certain layer of consciousness, like a shared consciousness or a hive mind, but in a very positive way, not in a negative way. And this shared consciousness is connected to all of us. So we are all tapped into something that is so big, and not everybody of us who is tapped into that will awaken to that or will be in the human like position, or have the drive to actually act on it, like to really go into like a spiritual career or something. But a lot of us will, and a lot of us are going to. So visually, it looks like we are all connected on a higher dimension through our cosmic selves. It's like the cosmic self is a multidimensional being. Every one of us has a cosmic self. You have a cosmic self. I have a cosmic self. But the cosmic self is just an umbrella term for a lot of higher dimensional aspects of you. So it's like, I call it by a name, like the cosmic self, I call it by a name that sounds like it's one being, but really it is more than that. It is one being, but it's also several aspects of you, like several higher dimensional aspects. So you can imagine that it has like two existences in one. It's the first perspective of existence is this one being, the body, the conscious body, and the other perspective of existence is these many fractals that are part of the cosmic self. The way I explain it to my clients is that you can imagine it as like an energetic body and the energetic cells in it. And you can communicate with the separated cells, like with a singular cell, you can communicate. That's a part of you, a higher dimensional lifetime, or an ET guide, or a spirit guide. That's a part, like that's a cell of your cosmic self. But the whole thing is like one being that is like a presence that is your higher dimensional version. That was a really bumpy explanation, but I hope you get what I mean. If you now think of the cells in the body of the cosmic self, think of one of these cells that are connected to every one of us, to all of our cosmic selves. Think of that one cell that is reaching into every cosmic self, every higher dimensional being of every light worker that is part of this mission. That's how I visually see it. I feel like I have to make a graphic or something like that. I have to create something to show you visually. So I may post about this in the near future. But that's the visual I'm getting. It's really hard to explain. But yeah, we're just connected in a very specific way on a higher dimension. And it's like a soul contract we all have. The interesting thing is that the majority of these new leaders are women, because the divine feminine energy continues to rise. It doesn't mean that it's only women, but it means that the majority of these new leaders are women. Another information I also got that really, really resonated with me, because I felt that on like a collective level, is that the activation of these leaders started in the last 2 to 3 years, but has become stronger since the beginning of 2024. And I really, really feel that, because I feel like the pandemic and like the whole struggle that we all went through has activated a lot in us. And even though it was a negative experience, you could say, there also was a lot of positives coming with it. So, on a very, very human level, we got more comfortable with connecting with people through Zoom calls. Before this whole thing, I didn't know many people who felt comfortable on video calls. And this whole thing gave us the opportunity to structure our businesses differently and to also create businesses based on virtual connection. It cannot replace human connection, but it gives us the opportunity to reach people all over the world and to connect in this way, because we cannot, it's just physically impossible to connect with so many people from all over the world all the time. And it gives us a sense of community and of being together. And that is so wonderful. That is like the 3D version, or the 3D gift that we were given with this whole pandemic and with this whole dark period. It wasn't nice, but there were some good things coming from it. And that is like the human thing that came with it, that people got more comfortable being online and being connected online. And on a spiritual level, I feel like a lot of people were questioning a lot. And I'm not going to go into any theories here or any like conspiracies, and without giving like my personal opinion on it, but I feel like it was just a trigger for people to question a lot of things and to really rely on their intuition to know what's right and what's wrong, or what they want to do and what they don't want to do. And that was a huge thing. I've heard from a lot of people that their spiritual awakening started during the pandemic. So there is definitely a connection. It was also because we had so much time and we couldn't go anywhere, and there was this sense of isolation. So instead of going out, we were going inside. And a lot of people were doing this. So it was like a mini, mini, mini mass awakening. It was not on a collective level, not at all. But there was an aspect to it that created this first like domino effect in the collective. And the new leaders who are popping up now, they are at different stages of their spiritual awakening. Some of them have been on a spiritual journey for a long time, for many, many years, but are now feeling called to step into their power, and now feeling called to do something with their knowledge, or to start a business, or to take social media seriously. And others, they are completely new to this. They are feeling called to a higher purpose for the first time ever. They may have experienced their spiritual awakening in the last couple of years or during the pandemic. There is like this whole story to it. It almost feels like it was divine timing that the pandemic and these challenging years and this uprising of the new leaders came together. I don't feel like this was a coincidence. I do feel like this was something that every single one of us, every soul, chose on a higher level, and we knew that this would happen, and that this would be like a possibility for us to wake up, or to get the drive to keep going, something like this. So it was not a coincidence. There is some meaning and purpose in when this happened and why it happened now. You may ask yourself now, what is the purpose though of these leaders? Why do they share spirituality online, and why do we get spiritual influencers out of nowhere and content creators? Their task, or let's say our task, because I feel like if you're listening to this, you're most likely one of them. Our task is to help create a higher New Earth timeline. And our role in this process is that of the inspirer or the visionary. We are not meant to create any physical change or do tangible humanitarian work. Our purpose is to initiate a transformative movement. And this starts with the improvement of our own timeline. So we have to create something for ourselves that inspires others. And this is our way of serving. That's cool. That's a cool position to be in. Let's be honest. By sharing our wisdom, by sharing our knowledge, our view of the world, and by sharing our beliefs and the vision we have, and by also taking action and being witnessed in that, we will inspire others, causing a chain reaction of people finding their own strength and potential. So we are activating something in those watching us, and they will then want to look for their own potential, for their own purpose, for their own higher timeline. So we are basically the inspirer of this movement, and we are the first ones that start this movement. What was really, really interesting for me when I received this information was that it reminded me of some of the things that Dolores Cannon was saying. And I read a lot of her work. I read a lot of her books, and I know a lot about her work. I've also done her type of hypnosis and regression. So I'm just familiar with her teachings. And part of her teachings were that she was always talking about, and this was channeled by her and by her clients, she was talking about 3 waves of volunteers that came to Earth to help raise the collective consciousness for people to be able to have a spiritual awakening and to reach higher consciousness. Every single wave had a little bit of a different purpose, but I'm not going to go too deep into all the waves now. I'm just going to give you an overview so you know what I'm talking about. The first wave was coming to Earth and being born shortly after World War II. So it was the baby boomer generation. The second wave are the millennials. And the third wave are, I think, Gen Z. And not every one of them, but there were many souls who came to Earth with this soul contract, with this mission to awaken to spiritual knowledge, to create the energetic grid for other people to awaken to. So there was a lot of mission in just bringing this energy to Earth, and it's still happening. It's still happening. But what I found so profound about this when I connected with my own cosmic self and when I got these downloads is that it's very similar. But the message I received was that these people are now stepping into leader roles. And with leader roles, don't get me wrong, I don't mean leader in like a human way, in a 3D way. I don't connect any power play with the word leader. A leader is just someone who thinks outside of the box, who does things differently, who restructures something for somebody else who's inspired by them. And that is us. That is everyone now who feels called to this higher purpose and who wants to start a business or wants to create a life for themselves that is in alignment with their cosmic self, that is in alignment with God, that is in alignment with how they want to see the world. And this is this new Earth timeline. It's not going to happen outside of us. It's not going to happen through a major cosmic event. We are creating it from the inside out. And it all comes together beautifully because we are now in the age of Aquarius. We can connect with thousands of people every day with the touch of a button through our phones, through our laptops, through Zoom. We have so many opportunities in this technological age that we didn't have before. The generations before us, like the 3 waves of volunteers, the very first wave, they didn't have a lot of possibility to go out into the world and share wisdom and share freely what they think and what could inspire others and really create impact and change in other people's lives. And we have this opportunity. And this is the major download I got. Like, there is a huge movement going on in the collective right now and in this generation that is meant to bring in this new leader energy. A leader is not someone who makes the rules. A leader is someone who is guiding the way, who's a pioneer of this new Earth timeline. And I can already kind of tap into how it's going to look like in a few years from now. It's going to be way more normal to do something that you want to do, to work as a coach or to have a spiritual job. It's going to be way more normal. But right now, it still feels hard and unattainable because not many people have done it before us. We are the ones who are on this break-even point of making it happen. And that is what makes it, first of all, very, very powerful and important and profound. But second of all, also very challenging and sometimes a little bit hopeless because you don't have any external proof that it's going to work out and that this is actually something that is shifting within society. You can only trust your own instincts and your own intuition, your own cosmic self's information. And I just want to bring this message out into the world because I feel like it's very profound. I've had this download for a while now and I wanted to sit with it before I even share it in that depth, and I'm going to talk about this a lot more. I'm sure there will be more information coming through because when I channel, there's so much information coming in that my brain needs some buffer time to even decode all the energetic information. So a lot of it comes through over like weeks or even months. So I'm going to talk about this a lot more, but I really want to share this with you. You may be one of them, one of these new leaders, if you suddenly feel a strong sense of purpose and higher calling. And I want to remind you, especially with this podcast episode, if you've listened until this point, I want to remind you that now is the time to take action, even if it feels uncertain, even if it feels challenging, or if you are afraid of things, and move toward your highest potential, where you can fully embrace and fulfill this mission. Because if you are one of those who are in this huge soul contract, who have this mission to pioneer this movement of leaders, you are definitely purposefully placed here right now, right here. Your circumstances may seem like they're not perfect to start a business, or you may feel like you are not equipped to do that, whatever the excuses are. But if you are here right now with this desire, everything is how it should be. Everything in your life is exactly how it should be so that you can create a higher timeline for yourself and shift onto this new earth timeline rather than withering away in a job, in a lifestyle that you hate, and create this impact. Your impact and your work and the things you are meant to do cannot be measured with me, cannot be measured with any other person out there, with any other content creator out there, or whatever you compare yourself with. It is your unique perspective as a light worker, and you are impacted by your own life experience, by your own challenges, by what you went through, by your surroundings, by how you live, by what your family is like, by what you experience. All of that shaped and impacted you to be this exact perspective that is needed in the world. There is nothing wrong, nothing that happened to you or that you went through or that makes you feel like you have not the perfect conditions to be a leader or to share your knowledge. Everything that makes you feel like that is exactly what makes you so powerful, because this perspective is needed. Nobody is perfect. Some people may really, really resonate with your energy because they've gone through similar things, or because they have a similar living situation or a similar family situation. And it's not like you have to talk about this openly and share it with the world, what's going on in your personal life or what life struggles you have, but it's an energetic thing. These things happened and these things are in your life or part of yourself because they serve a purpose. And with your energy, just as it is, without taking away anything, without shifting anything, without wishing something away, you are exactly how you need to be to provide this specific light worker's perspective, which is your perspective, that impacts people in a very, very certain way. We are not meant to follow like a book of rules on how a leader should be, or how a coach should be, or how a content creator should be, or what they need to be successful, or how they should be to be even set up to be successful. All of this is bullshit. You are exactly where you're meant to be with all the experiences, good and bad, that you have to provide your perspective and to fulfill your lightworker mission, your divine mission. And that is so freaking powerful. And I'm getting goosebumps right now talking about this. So I cannot believe that I got this download at the end of 2023 and I haven't really talked about it, but I'm realizing now as I'm creating this podcast episode, as I'm recording, like, wow, this is the next big thing. And my part in this is to bring it out into the world and to share it. I'm sure I'm not the only one who received this information or a similar type of information, but like I just said, I have a very specific way to explain it. I have a very specific perspective and a way to put it that resonates with those who are meant to resonate with me. And you have a very specific energy and way to express things that are meant to resonate with the people you are meant to work with or resonate with. So I hope this makes sense. It was a little bit like I was just talking from my heart in this episode. No notes, no nothing. I just feel really, really called to bring this message out into the world. And I'm realizing right now that I'm taking part in this by sharing this. This is my way of taking part in it. Not just that, but it's an important step. And I was hesitant to even share this message, to be 100% transparent with you. I was very hesitant to share this message because I know that it can sound like I'm putting myself above someone else if I come through with a very important information or with a profound channeling. I don't want to ever be put on a pedestal like that. I don't want to portray myself as the one true source. And I really hate to see that in the spiritual community if that happens, if people take the coach to cult leader pipeline. And I really hate seeing that. And I don't want to be perceived like that. But I realized also through talking to my own mentors that it doesn't matter what other people from the outside perceive about my message. It will land with the right kind of people. It will land with you if you're meant to resonate with it. And if someone from the outside who doesn't even know what my work is, what my message is, who just sees it from the outside, thinks this is culty behavior or this is some type of person like me who is putting herself on a pedestal and talks as like the one true source, they are clearly not involved in my work and they clearly don't know enough to understand that I'm quite the opposite of that. So I really cleared my mind from those doubts, and I felt so empowered sharing this today with you. So you see, even someone who's been in this business for many years and who's very, very strong in her beliefs, I usually do not care what other people think of me at all. But even I had like this hesitance to share a profound message like this. First of all, because it feels huge. And second of all, because it will polarize people. It will not be received well by everyone. But that is okay. That is what makes us leaders. That is what makes us take an important role in this whole mission that we all share. And I really hope this resonated with you. I hope, as always, that this episode activated something within you. If you're feeling called to reach out to me, or if you have a question about this whole thing, because I feel like it may activate something within a lot of people listening to this, I'm more than happy to text with you or to send you an email back. So you can always reach out on social media. You can reach out on TikTok or on Instagram. It's both at Isabel Gloria, or you can send me an email. It's podcast@isabelgloria.com. That being said, I wish you a wonderful week. Let's talk next Sunday for a brand new episode.